Well, hello. Today's topic is ho-ho holiday eating. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some simple things that we can all do to make this holiday season a little healthier. I have some simple tips. I love simple numbers like 3. So the tips that I have are really 3 tips. 1, plan. One of the simplest things that we can do during the holiday season is to plan. Plan for when you're going to go out to eat, plan where you're going to go visit family, plan to bring lunch to work, plan what holiday festivities you might be able to bring things to, social occasions, family, work, any of those. Some simple things to do with planning. Number 1 is just make a simple to-do list that day in order to help you make some smart eating choices. I'm going to give you an example. Today, for example, my wife is having a friend holiday gathering, and we're going to have a whole bunch of food. And I think my wife has catered a whole bunch of stuff. So this morning, I just made a quick list of things that I know I like to eat, and things that I know my wife likes to eat, and things that I know that if I eat too late will give me heartburn. And typically what happens during the holidays is weight gain. But there are actually signs that you may be eating too fast, too much, that your body gives you. And that will be my 3rd tip that I'll come to in a little bit. But generally, I'm making an example. Tonight, I know that there's going to be some sausage that my wife brings, and she chops it up. And we have cheese, and we have different cheeses and different crackers. And what tends to happen is I find myself picking at a lot of these foods. And it's all laid out, it's so pretty, you don't usually see it, so there's this amazement. It's like, wow, I almost deserve to eat it because it looks so fantastic. And this is what usually happens when we go to social functions, work, friends, family. When you make some simple plans and you know that that's going to happen, you can bring some stuff to the holiday party that will help you enhance your diet. So when I mean plan, one of the things that I did this morning as I started to talk about it was I made a little list of things that I would be able to bring tonight. And my wife really likes it too because she sees that I'm making an effort. So this is a double plus because my wife is pleased that I'm doing something as well. So I'm bringing a little simple salad. This is the season where some lettuces are starting to end, but you can still grab arugula is one of my favorite lettuce. Arugula is very strong, it's very healthy, it's got a very bitter taste. So I do some arugula, maybe a little bit of other mixed greens, some spinach, some baby spinach, maybe a little bit of lettuce. And I throw in some pecan nuts. I throw in a tiny bit of either blue cheese or feta, totally up to you what you'd like to do, and just a little bit amounts. And then I throw in some nice beets, which give it that nice deep red color, so it's green and red, so it's festive at the same time. The feta cheese gives it the white, so to me the salad is almost Christmassy, or you got the colors of the holiday season. So at the same time, I know I'm getting something that's going to be pretty healthy for me. And I like having that there available because I know that the little appetizers and the meal itself is going to be a lot. And there's also going to be a lot of wine. So the other thing that I plan is to make sure I have some water, or know that when I go and eat at a holiday party, if there's alcohol, that I have a glass of water for every glass of alcohol that I have, whether it's beer or wine or spirits. And the reason for that is twofold. Number 1, the wine makes you want to eat more. It actually lowers your defenses, and it's hard for you to understand what your body's wanting. And the flavor of wine combines well with a lot of different foods. So cheeses being one of them, and sausages, chocolate, and then certain foods. So wines have that pairing quality. So when you're having wine, you're tending to want to eat more food as well. And as I mentioned a little while ago, wine or alcohol dumbs your senses a little bit. So you're not quite sure what your body is telling you. So you may not be sure when you're full, or when you're eating too fast. So having a nice tall glass of water slows me down quite a bit. It helps me kind of get my stomach pretty full, even though water empties out pretty quickly. So that's kind of my little rule of thumb there when I go to holiday parties or when I go out or when I do things. So this doesn't only apply to the holidays, this could be when you're going out with friends to a restaurant. And then on my little list, I always remind myself, make your plate. And what I mean by that is, as a dietitian, one of the things that I do is I walk around and I do a lot of presentations and I use this plate constantly. And the theme that's most prevalent on this plate is that half of what I'm going to consume is colorful. Ironically, it's the holiday season colors. Yay! I love this plate for many reasons. So at least half my plate, fruit and vegetables. It could be half vegetables, it could even be half fruit. What tends to happen is when you make your plate half fruit and vegetables, it gives me the ability to then have whatever else I want at a holiday party or at dinner or restaurant or other holiday events. So say for example there's stuffing. Well, stuffing is it's got a lot of mixed things, but it can kind of go in both areas. But generally speaking, the stuffing is going to be in the grains area. So I could have stuffing. A little bit of gravy on it too, and then protein. Protein could be probably there's turkey, or there could be ham, or there can be different kind of loaves, protein loaves like meatloaves, or there could be other holiday foods, but generally ham and turkey are the two main ones. So the amount that's going to fit on here is quite small, but at the same time I could still get to have it. And when we start putting the planning into place, planning my plate really gives me a concept of how I want my plate to look. I know I want some kind of protein here, some kind of carbohydrate here, and the fruit and vegetables to make up the difference. So I get what I want with what I need as well. So it covers it pretty easily. It's a simple thing to do. It'll work anywhere you go, whether you go out to a restaurant, whether you go to a holiday party, whether you go into your in-laws' house and having or having a potluck or whatever. It's a special occasion dining that really works pretty easily. So that's part of the planning process too. The other thing too is planning the time of day that you're going to eat. So what time is the holiday party going to be? Is it going to be in the afternoon? Is it going to be in the evening? Is it a morning? So you want to be able to kind of plan the timing of your meals. Planning also means plan to eat. Plan meaning try not to skip meals. And this is very common during the holiday season. We know that we're going to have this holiday dinner, and we don't want to ruin it, and I want to make sure I get to eat every last morsel. So we sometimes tend to famine before feasting. And this is very common during Thanksgiving season or on Thanksgiving Day, where early in the morning, we just don't eat anything, because I know I'm going to get this and I'm going to get that. Same thing happens during the holiday season. Not to mention that there are multiple holiday parties from your spouse's job or your friends and your family and your job. So when you time your meals, timing meals as part of planning also means making sure you eat like you would normally eat through the day, so when you arrive to a party, you're not famished. And you have greater control, ability to control yourself from eating too much. So I'll get to the whole concept of control in a little bit. So the last part about planning that I want to talk about is the social aspect. With holidays and social events, there's a dynamic that people don't or may not realize that's occurring, and that is the competitiveness or the comparisons that are subliminally happening while you're eating. Oh, she's eating that. Or, why is he eating so fast? Oh, I'm not going to be able to get some. Or, oh, why are they eating that? Ooh, look what's over there. There's the me too factor. Ooh, I want that. And it's part of the social concept. We are humans and we crave social interaction. That's why we have so many more holiday festivities, more holiday parties, more get-togethers, because there is a time to bring us together. And what happens when we get together is that there's a lot of these social, psychological interactions that we're not familiar with. So if you plan to make sure that you know who's going to be there, or at least have an idea of who's going to be there, you can get an idea of what your eating is going to be like. Okay? You can plan to know that Uncle Joe is there, and he always makes fun of me because I eat a certain way. Okay? So planning and preparing for that can also be helpful. And as I mentioned earlier, bring your own plate so you can have something that you feel safe with as well. Okay? The third area that I want to go to that I tell people about ho-ho holiday eating is being active. Activity, is somewhat kind of left behind during the holidays, and the main reason is time. You've got so much going on. You've got deadlines at work. You've got clients you have to see. You have children that you need tending to. You have bills you have to pay. You have shopping, and so on and so on and so on, not to mention all of the holiday parties. So being active sometimes takes a back seat. I want to bring it up to the forefront and say that if you use activity to your benefit, you don't have to necessarily go to the gym. If you're going to go shopping, put in an extra 15 minutes to go, around the mall. Or if you have to be with the kids, or take the kids or the grandkids or the children out somewhere, make 15 minutes or carve out 15 minutes to run with them. Literally, get your heart rate up and run with them. Do something fun during the holidays. It doesn't necessarily require you to, I didn't get to go to the gym. Yeah, that's going to happen. I mean, it happens with me as well as anybody else. I tend to not go to the gym during the holidays because I have all those other responsibilities. So it's easy to miss out on that. But if you make some simple, here's another P word again, planning. Again, you plan to throw in some activity in your day, that's really also going to help you quite a bit. And then, plan to do some fun stuff with the family as well. Make the holiday parties a hide and seek with the kids, or make it a kind of a fun adult, I don't know, Scrabble, not Scrabble, what's the one,
Charades.
Twister or charades, yeah, something that you can, that's really active and you get your heart rate going and stuff. So you're having fun in the process as well and burning calories in the process. So it's not just about going to the gym. And then scratch it up to the holidays. If you don't go, you don't go. But it's not the end of the world. It's the holidays. And 1 week or two out of the year, as long as you know that you're the type of person that is physically active on a regular basis, it's no big deal. It's really not an issue. But, again, if you plan things around the holidays so you're active, it makes it more fun. It makes it less of a task. So I really summarize physical activity in two concepts, or the reasons why we do physical activity are really two reasons. One, we have to. We have two hands, we have 2 feet. If you don't use them, you lose them. That's the good old saying. So use them. And physical activity, having to do physical activity, we know why physical activity is important. It lowers blood pressure, it lowers blood sugar or controls blood sugar, it helps with your mood, it increases circulation, it gives you more oxygen, it helps with your bones, it improves your memory. I can go on and on and on with this long litany of health reasons why it's so important to do physical activity. So it's obvious, you have to. It's part of human nature. We're not designed to sit, we're designed to stand and move around. And the second reason is, if you think about yourself as a child, we were all once children. If you think of yourself as a child, and the holidays is a time for the family to be together and enjoy each other and have fun, think of it that way, then physical activity is something that you want to do. And this is key, because the first reason why we do physical activity is we have to. But that's not what's enduring. So say, for example, you have to, and someone says during the holiday season, oh, there's a special at the gym. If I go, for a week, I get the week off. And that's kind of making you go. And what happens is you could probably go for a week, but it doesn't necessarily endure. So when you make physical activity something that you want to do, that helps it become enduring. It makes it part of your life. And that's key, because then you start seeing yourself as that person, versus not seeing yourself as that person. Always seeing yourself as, I'm not a gym person, or I'm not a biker, or I'm not a hiker. So during the holiday season, it really enhances the whole concept of wanting to do physical activity. So again, 2 main reasons, want and need, or have to, want to. All right, so the third tip for ho-ho holiday eating is being mindful. And this is kind of where I was wrapping up everything, or I'm going to wrap up everything from planning. So planning, be active, and be mindful. Mindfulness comes in many, many different ways. A little while ago I said, if I bring my own plate, I will help myself or secure that I will end up eating something healthy. And I bring back the plate again. If I'm mindful that I'm eating enough throughout the day, I know my hunger level is going to stay at check. It's not going to go over where it is going to cause me to overeat at night. So being mindful has many different layers. Being mindful is knowing what your body is telling you. So if you're exhausted from work, even though you ate enough throughout the day, you might not have the desire to eat healthy at night. And that's okay. That's absolutely fine. The idea is that as long as you're mindful of that, again, you can just realize that that level of stress may require you to have a few more calories. So go ahead and give yourself a few more calories. That's where the second point, physical activity, can add a little help there. That will help burn off those little extra bites that you ended up having, or those extra pieces of cheese, or those extra holiday cookies, or that extra friendship cake that you know you didn't want to have, but somebody brought it. So that's how being mindful can be very important. So that's one. Another one, as I mentioned earlier, there's the social dynamics that are occurring. If you're mindful of how you feel when you are around other people, someone says something, it makes you feel a certain way, and therefore you don't or do eat something. Like someone says, oh, go ahead, you're never going to have this again, and you've been thinking, oh, I'm being really, and I don't like this word, but I'm being really good by not eating this. And someone says, oh, go ahead, you're never going to have this again. Be aware that how it makes you feel. And if it makes you feel good to be around people and have that certain food, it doesn't mean that you're bad because you're having that. It just means that you're connecting with people. So if you understand the whole concept of being mindful, that can really, really help you. Another point of being mindful, something that I work with a lot of people that I see, and that is learning to pause when you eat. I tell people that the body or stomach takes approximately 20 minutes to communicate to the brain that you're full. So most people, the average time it takes for people to eat an entire meal in the United States is 11 minutes. So half the time that it would take in order for your brain to correspond, or your stomach to correspond with your brain, that you're full. And you're done. And this is one of the reasons why when we eat so fast, we tend to not listen to our stomachs and tend to eat about 30% more, which is roughly the average. 30% more may not seem like a lot, but when you add that 3 meals times 7 days a week times 52 weeks a year, it adds up pretty quickly. So this time of year, if you're mindful of eating, one of the things that I tell people to do is pause. Put the food down. Put your utensils down. Take a deep breath. Laugh. Enjoy the company that you're with. Have a good time. Take a couple of sips of water while you eat. Refresh your palate so when you're eating something. Also, being mindful when you're pausing is to understand the dynamics of food. You eat with your eyes first. You eat with your senses of smell. You eat with your senses of taste and touch, texture, temperature. Whether a food is acidic or creamy or meaty or sweet. These combinations of flavors are enhanced during the holiday season. But if you're scarfing food down, it's hard for you to really take those things in. I tell people to do this with chocolate. If you're fond of chocolate, take a chocolate bar that you don't like, or a chocolate square, and take a chocolate square of one that you really do like, and then bite the piece, not eat the whole chocolate cube. Take a bite and feel it and taste it, and do the same with the other. and do this flavor comparison. And what you'll see is you might realize some different dynamics. Some chocolates are silkier, some chocolates are crunchier, some chocolates are sweeter, some chocolates are coffee-like, some chocolates are bitter, some chocolates are all of the above. And the same thing happens with foods. Chefs and most restaurants know this, hands down. When very well-trained chefs know that there are really a few ingredients that you put in food, 4 main ones, okay? Sugar, salt, fat, and the one people don't know is acidity. The combinations of those flavors really make the food jump out at you. And if you're aware of those, you know that if you're eating something salty, you're probably going to have a taste for something sweet because you need to contrast that flavor. So being mindful allows you, pausing while you're eating, slowing down allows you to be aware of that, take it all in, and only need or eat what you need or feel like eating. Okay? And here's the thing. If you're never going to eat that again until the next year, have at it. Have fun. Enjoy it. Again, that's why you have point number 2. Be physically active. Physically active, that'll really help you burn off a few of those extra bites that you might have had. And then the last one with being mindful is to, so there's, in being mindful, the way I look at it as the before, the during, and the after. Okay, we just talked about before, thinking of things that you can, that will happen. The during, pausing, taking time with your food, giving yourself those full 20 minutes to eat, tasting your food, and then the after. And then the after is just as important because a lot of times, I said a little while ago, someone says, oh, go ahead and eat that, and you're trying to be quote-unquote good, and then you eat it, and then you see yourself as bad because you had something bad. Let me give you a comparison. Okay, let's say I had a little handful of Christmas cookies, okay? And over here, I had a handful of apple slices. Now, the amount of apple slices and the amount of Christmas cookies from a caloric standpoint are exactly the same. Let's say they're 200 calories each, okay? It's a lot of apple slices, not too many cookies, but calorically are still the same, okay? If you want to eat one or the other, and it's the holiday season, you might want to probably go with the holiday cookies versus the apples. Because it's the holiday season, you're never really going to have them again. It's not that time of year later on, so the problem is that then we perceive ourselves as bad or good. And that is not where you need to go with food. During the holiday season, it's about celebration, it's about connection, it's about family, love, peace, happiness, enjoying the people that you're with and you have. And those cookies connect you in that way, that the apples might not, because apples aren't not necessarily that time of year that you get them, okay? So if you then, after eating, understand that you may have eaten too many cookies, understand that it's probably because you haven't had those cookies since last year. And I'll tell you, if I haven't had something for over a year, I'm probably going to overeat it too. That's just the way things work. So understand that that does not relate to your self-worth. And this is the whole mindfulness of the after. Before, during, after. Understanding that during the holiday season, it's about this connection. It is about understanding that you'll probably not get this meal again for another year. So have a good time and enjoy. And that's it. Those are my 3. Plan, be active, and be mindful. Thank you.